Hey there, folks. In 2004, 2 years ago, I sued Charles F. Dolan, Cablevision Systems Corporation, James L. Dolan, his son, Mac Budil, Thomas Garger, Charles Former, Peggy Anderson, Christine Savarino, Cecilia Massarilli, Robert N. Callaghy, and Sally Stevens Burke and Burke, and Patricia Langelotti for the damages they had caused me by upsetting the signers that I got for my TV show, A Chat with Glendora, on Cablevision Systems. Yonkers, Pelham, New Rochelle, Port Chester, Harrison, Yorktown, Ossining, Peekskill. I would go out and get the signers, and it would cost me money to go find signers. And this isn't required anyway by law. It's just a screening device to get rid of public access by greedy Cablevision when they're mandated to have public access. It's a law. So I'd go out and get the signers, and Cablevision would call them up, Christine Savarino, and they would scare the people, and the people would run away. And I'd have to go out and pay money to get more signers. I mean, in travel and in urges of energy and in hours. So I sued them for a paltry $3,000 in the Harrison Town Court, and I expected justice. But instead of justice, I got John Vogt. And he made a mess of the whole thing. You couldn't make more of a mess of it. And so I appealed his alphosis to the appeals court, the appellate term, 9th and 10th Judicial Districts, Supreme Court, State of New York. And then I come across 3 more worse crooks. And their names are Angelillo, Rudolph, and Tannenbaum. And they tell a $70,000 law clerk, costing you $70,000 a year, to a liar for hire, to rationalize their decision. Well, they'd already made the decision the minute I filed the case. It was made on spite and malice and prejudice. And then they try to rationalize it with the law. They know the law has been broken. So they look at the law and they say, how can we get around this? And they cheat and they lie and they steal. Well, I have written a motion and a notice of motion and an affidavit to these 3 punks, Angelillo, Rudolph, and Tannenbaum, asking for relief pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 60B, pursuant to the New York State analog to such Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Now, on the past 2 programs, I have read up to page 22 out of 48. I resume now with you, and I'm going to read to you the biggest lie that this law clerk, who has been paid to lie, made, and that is the court below properly dismissed the action. There couldn't have been anything more improper than what Vogt did, and he did it all the way through. I filed the case on St. Patrick's Day, 2004. I never heard from the man until April Fool's Day. Yeah, April Fool's Day. Fits in, doesn't it? Well, so Glendora says, will you prove that? And they don't prove it. And it's this paper written by a hack law clerk that is without merit. They say my case is without merit. Well, I don't think it is. I deserve the damages that they caused me. They made damages, they damaged me, and I deserve the $3,000. It was way more than $3,000, but that's the monetary jurisdiction of it. town court in the state of New York, $3,000 in small claims. Now this is a mowdown of monumental issues, one after the other. And I tell them that they're puero. That means kid stuff. And I tell them to go back and prove each one of their statements. And I tell them that it's woefully amateurish, but that is the way it is when you decide a case before you hear it. Is this court? No, folks, it is not court. You always come up with a heterotaxis, like a Picasso painting. You have an arm where an eyeball should be. You have a leg where an ear should be. Fail to offer any cause of action pursuant to the Public Service Law, Section 229. Oh, really? Section 229, Article 11 of the Public Service Law says that no cable operator shall limit and prohibit public access. Cablevision didn't limit or prohibit public access when they called up my signers, scared them away, chased them away, and then took the program off the TV because there was no signer. How could you limit and prohibit public access more severely than that? So that's their big lie. They didn't limit and prohibit a chat with Glendora by chasing away her signers and taking her program off of TV in the Harrison, Port Chester, Peekskill, New Rochelle, Pelham, Yonkers, Yorktown, which has 6 municipalities, Ossining, which has about 10 or 12. How much more limit and prohibit can you get, you amanuensis? Besides, the issue in small claims is damages, and damages only. The issue is that these lawbreakers chased away Glendora's signers, and it cost her more mileage and time and labor to drive to town after town and get the signers, get new signers. And Glendora has the evidence of it, and Glendora presented the ad hominem for that. But they don't care a thing about the law, nor about the facts. They don't care a thing about it. Their engine is prejudice, spite, and malice. But never, the Harris court, of course, never heard the facts. There was no trial. They haven't a leg to stand on. They didn't hear any facts. No witnesses were sworn. No evidence was presented. Nobody was put under penalty of perjury to tell the truth. But they don't deal with that issue. That's the major issue. Volch violated small claims statute. No trial. Now fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Imagine this clerk ignoring limit and prohibit. Go through the rest of the Public Service Law, Article 11. Stay with the issues. Damages. Substantial justice is all that small claims is about. Focus. You don't talk about the law, you talk about damages. Cable companies can make certain rules and arrangements, but they can't make rules and arrangements that prohibit and limit public access, that violate first come, first serve, that violate that public access shall be administered on a discriminatory basis, editorial control. These are the laws of public access. They cannot be violated. And their rules cannot be rules that violate those things. First come, first served. And when are you people ever going to learn to be clerks, lawyers, and judges? And maybe one day, when are you going to learn to be Americans? What do you know about public access? And what do you know about, or what does Callaghan know about it? What does Volch know about it? Besides, it wasn't Callaghan, it was a fly-by-night McQuaid, and if you call up Sally Stevens Burke and ask for Laura McQuaid, you will be told she's no longer with the firm. Glendora has been in public access 34 years and done 4,000, what number show is this? It's about 4,520. 4,520 public access shows. 1/2 hour each. And then she's on the internet at 2 sites. www.chatwithglendora.com and www.youtube.com/chatwithglendora, one word. And how many have you done? This law clerk or Mr. Law Clerk, ripping off the state of New York at $70,000 a year so you can lie? Again, this is not the issue. The issue is damages. Focus. What worse censorship can you commit than taking Glendora's show off the TV? Glendora has a message for her viewers. If Cablevision steps in and takes out or blocks the message between you and me, that is editorial control. I have a message for you. Cablevision steps in and blocks that message from getting to you. That is editorial control. In one paragraph alone, this amanuensis, this paid-for law clerk, this liar for hire, told 8 lies. Then the whole paper is about 30 or 40 lies. And this is coming from the Supreme Court, State of New York, appellate term, 9th and 10th Judicial District. Lying! Well, this has gone to the Commission on Judicial Conduct. But that doesn't make any difference because they're just as bad as the appellate term. The issue is damages, I repeat. Your page 2 is so poor, and it's all kid stuff. But what else can you expect of a crowd who cannot read? They can't read a caption. You make the Empire State look vampire. You make the Empire State look vampire. Page 29. Their page is the number SM something, SM something, SM something. What's that stand for? There was no such case as Glendora versus Marshall. That was a lawyer up in Albany named Ben Wiles, who deliberately put in papers saying Glendora versus Marshall when it's Glendora versus Malone. And he did the same thing in the Mark D. Fox, who was a magistrate in White Plains, or was. I hope he's gone. Let him do it. Just let him twist their nose, that's all. He put in the paper as Glendora versus Marshall, and it was Glendora versus Malone, and there's no doubt that billionaire Malone paid him to do that, to get his name, but it didn't work. The case is Glendora versus Malone, not Glendora versus Marshall, and these dummies don't know the difference. And it wouldn't do you any good to tell them. They would keep the stupid going. And everything she says, I say, prove it to me. You have not been able to prove anything yet. But what can you expect from people who cannot read? And we're on page 29. Also proved to Glendora that this is a quote unquote, rather a quote court unquote. So far there has been no sign of the same. Go back and get somebody to read it to you. They say they can't read the complaint. Well, I say go back and get somebody to read it to you. Is that you, Sebastian? And do you want to go outdoors? Okay. Just let me finish page 30. We'll take a break. Go back and get somebody to read it to you. Glendora's case, causes of action, is the damages that the defendants cost Glendora, scaring away Glendora's signers, like Langelotti, who happened to be a defendant. She was a scared-off signer. And the money it cost Glendora to go back to the municipalities and get new signers. Now, is that so abstruse? Is that so hard to understand? Did you read the ad hominem? You probably did not. Glendora speculates and who read McQuaid's paper to you? Okay, I'll be right back. I got to take open the door for little Sebastian Cat, who is a vegan. He's a vegan. He doesn't eat meat and he doesn't eat dairy products. He is a vegan. No, folks, he decided he didn't want to go out. He decided he would eat the lunch that I prepared him an hour ago. Now, Glendora paid $95 for the minutes, and you know very well, court, that you did not read those minutes. You don't read anything. You don't do your homework. You just collect your $130,000 a year. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. I do. And I even love these dissolutes and hope so badly that they will find the true worth and that they will be redeemed. But the first test is to let them know that they're not getting by with it. People are watching. You are watching with me. You do not know the facts, along with not knowing the law. They made a dumb mistake, another one, saying that Langelotti, well, they didn't understand that Langelotti did sign. She did sign. And then Cablevision, after I entrusted Langelotti's telephone number and address to Christine Savarino, Cecilia Masterilli, Langelotti gets a call, and Langelotti is scared. Now this is extortion. This is RICO. This is extortion. And Langelotti breaches. She drops out. So I sued her. And they have everything upside down, just as they do the caption. And the minimum that we can expect of a court is literacy. Langelotti signed. The defendant scared her off. Glendora told Langelotti that she would sue. And Langelotti says, then I'll sign. And I would not accept that because that's too much what Cablevision done. That's extortion. So I wouldn't accept that, and I went ahead and sued her anyway. But this court masquerades and protects the bad guys and persecutes the good guys. Let me say it again. These hacks, these parasites, living out for the $130,000 a year you give the judges and the $70,000 a year that you give the clerks, instead of protecting the good guys, they persecute them. They protect the bad guys, and they persecute the good guys. You want me to let you out the back door, Sebastian? Okay, honey. Here you go. Come on. I open the back door, and he goes out the front door. This way, Sebastian. Kitty, 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 kitty. He's named after John Sebastian Bach. Have a good time. Don't do anything bad. And don't hurt any small animals. Well, we are up to page 30, and we're going to take a break, and then we're going to read up to page 48, and then we will be done. Meanwhile, folks, say a prayer for these poor people. I want to see them make it. How they are wasting their life, how they are wasting their energy, how they are wasting their resources. An inordinate desire for prominence, which they aren't getting. Nobody likes them. Even the people who are like them don't like them. They're colleagues, in other words. They can't stand each other. So an inordinate desire, an eager desire for prominence, for position, for wealth, for rank, for preference. And they're not getting it. Nobody respects them. People say, what's the chat with Glendora about? I say, it's about corruption in the courts. Oh, well, that's certainly true. And that's unanimous. So, let's take a break now. I want to rejoice for 4:30 and for 4:45. And at 5:15, Art Rice and his wife Linda are coming for me. And we're going to a free hot supper at the Lutheran Church. The churches are so nice the way they try to feed poor people. And they have these delicious dinners. Okay. Okay, everybody, let's go and see how much of this we can get done. Standing up for right in a crooked, fallen court world. Glendora says, you disgust me. This is what is known as breach of contract. Now you prove it. You prove what you have said. We would not expect anybody like you, dishonest and dishonorable, to know anything about keeping your word. This is the court where 3 judges would not answer the question, did you take an oath of office? Nor would they answer if they were abiding by that oath. They can't read, they can't keep their word, they had bad parents. You know, that's really what it comes down to. That their parents didn't teach them right from wrong. They don't know right from wrong. It's as simple as that, folks. And it says no consideration is allowed in public access. You cannot say to anybody, if you sign this public access application, I'm going to do such and such for you. You cannot do that. Nobody's allowed to get paid or perks in public access. Cablevision requires us to have a local resident sign this application before they will cablecast the show. Will you sign? And the person says yes. Now this is a contract. And Langelotti breached it. So far, you have failed entirely, I'm telling the law clerk and the 3 judges. Now, I gave you the facts. I listed them all for you. You know, that Cablevision required this. I went out and did it. I gave the information to Cablevision. They called up the people and they chased them away, extortion. I gave them all of the facts, but they don't address these facts. Just as they don't address the fact that John M. Vogt did not have a trial. And that's required in small claims. Prima facie, this costs money, hours, and herbs to go out and get new science. And you have not refuted this. And you have not proved it to be not so. hanky-panky, prejudice, affixed, premeditated, conclusory rhetoric. How can you do substantial justice if you do not have a trial? Now get around that one. No witnesses were sworn, no testimony was taken, no evidence was submitted. Shame on you. You cannot read a caption. You do not know the law, and you do not know how to adjudicate. You do not know the Uniform Justice Court Act, Section 1801 et sequitur, which is the Small Claims Act. This is why you are not an honorable court, quote unquote. This, along with a multiplicity of other reasons. Put the law into your minds, write the law into your heart. The morality and law breaking of Saul Walker still hovers. Saul Walker was a chief judge of the state of New York, and he was arrested and jailed for breaking the law. Yes! I interviewed Saul Walker 9 days before it happened. Saul Walker was the chief judge of the state of New York, the highest chair in the courts, and he went to jail for breaking